The stakes are high, of course, for the auto industry, for auto workers, but also for Canadian politicians, especially during this first week of a federal election campaign. CBC's Karina Roman is watching that reaction. And Karina, what have you heard so far?
Well, let's start with Mark Carney, who called this a direct attack on Canada, a direct attack on the auto workers he was with just this morning at a campaign stop in Windsor. He said he's now changing his plans from what he was going to do on the campaign and head back to Ottawa to meet with the Canada-U.S. Cabinet Committee. And he also, there was questions about whether he would speak to Trump. That still hasn't happened since he became Prime Minister. He said now would be an appropriate time to speak with Trump considering these actions, but he can't give us a precise timing on that other than it should happen soon. On the essential question of how today's announcement will impact Canada, because everything is still so murky, he's not any clearer really than the rest of us. Have a listen to what he had to say.
We do not yet have the executive order. And so there are different variants of the 25% announcement that was made today. One would be that it is only on the, this is still significant to be absolutely clear, but on the part component of a car. Another would be that it's on the entire vehicle. We await the executive order for that clarity. But to be absolutely clear, even in the more, quote, restricted version of this, it is a significant action.
Now, he did say, just yes, we're in caretaker mode. It's during an election, but the government does have options and will be able to execute its plan on retaliatory tariffs if necessary. He did try and encourage Canadians to stay united and saying that Canada will come out strong on the other end, but conceded that it will hurt in the meantime.
Yeah, it is so significant that even the Prime Minister not clear on exactly the details of what Trump is going to enact, but also points out no matter what it is serious business. What about the other political leaders, Karina? What are they saying?
Well, Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre also called it an attack on the best friend that the U.S. has ever had, said they were unjustified tariffs. And then he took the opportunity to try and speak directly to workers, especially those that will be affected. So have a listen to what he had to say.
We speak to the workers in the auto sector. You're afraid right now. You're anxious. You wonder how you're going to pay your mortgage or put food on the table. Canada will be there for you. We will be there for you. We will ensure that you have income replacement to put food on the table and money in your bank account.
Now, Pierre Poilievre said under a Conservative government, supports for workers would be both in the form of income replacement, as he was talking about there, making employment insurance more flexible, but also tax cuts, because he said that tariffs will, of course, make things more expensive for Canadians. When asked what his message to Trump is, he said to knock it off, and that this is unnecessary and, poor, bad trade policy all around. In terms of other leaders, Ontario Premier Doug Ford obviously had lots to say, considering this is very impactful on Ontario, where the auto sector is centered. He was clearly angry and frustrated. He said, in his last meeting in Washington with U.S. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick, they were told, okay, we might have disagreements, but there will be no surprises. And then today happens, and voila, there's a surprise. He said that regardless of what the motive for this is, it's creating chaos, that it's going to hurt Canada, that it's going to hurt Ontario, but it's also going to hurt Americans. And, when he talks to Americans, he tries to convey that. And he talked about that again today, so have a listen.
Talked to a tremendous amount of people going to events, and I'm very transparent by saying we have two options here. We either roll over as a country, and he runs us over 15 times and gets what he wants, or we feel a little bit of pain and we fight like we've never fought before. I prefer the latter. I believe in fighting, and we'll have a big impact on the American people.
Now, when asked about his previous threats of a surcharge on electricity to the northern states, he said he's not going to go down that road quite yet, or the threat of turning off the lights. He said he wants to meet with other premiers first, take a Team Canada approach, doesn't want to do anything that, yes, hits back at Americans, but then also ends up hurting the provinces. So he's being more cautious about those threats at this point. He was also asked whether this is going to be successful for the Americans in terms of drawing auto plants out of Ontario and bringing them into the United States. And he says you can't just flick a switch and build an auto plant. So he's trying to temper fears on that front. We also heard from NDP leader Jagmeet Singh today, or this evening, I should say, saying this is exactly why he was pushing the Liberal government to bring in worker supports before there was an election, some of which Mark Carney did. The Liberals did do that, but Singh saying it was not quite enough, not exactly what he was looking for, and also probably some of them coming in a little too late. So he's very concerned about the fate of the workers. Have a listen.
This is a direct attack on so many workers. And we know that Trump is an arsonist. He's literally burning down his own country's jobs and economy and ours as well. And we got to stand up and fight back. Well, what's happened right now is heartbreaking. Like the idea that hundreds of thousands of workers right now are looking at what's just been announced and are wondering, will I lose my job? The prediction is, and some of the estimates are, these are literally hundreds of thousands of jobs that could be impacted in the automotive sector and the supporting sectors around it. There's a lot of jobs at stake right now. So first and foremost, we got to protect these workers, and we've got to fight back like hell to protect these jobs.
So, Ian, a lot of reaction this evening. There'll likely be more throughout the evening and tomorrow as everyone waits to actually see what's on paper, the executive order, because the government and most Canadians have learned that there's one thing for it to be announced in the Oval Office. It's another thing to actually see what the executive order says, and that's where your true reaction will come, because you'll be able to be reacting to something tangible. And then all eyes on April 2nd next week, when other tariffs are supposed to come in, and also lots of lack of clarity on what those will look like, especially for Canada.
It has been a long day for you, Karina, and here you are in the Bureau late at night. Thanks for sticking around for us.
You're welcome.